Sure. Fantastic. Today is May 8th, and so I'm recording this because I want to send this off to I don't know who to show how people are when they're conscious, connected, and loving, and living the revolutionary agreements.
And living the revolutionary agreements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a deep breath, Noel and Bob, and everyone else that would like to and take a deep breath and declare this. I would declare that with a big breath in, breathing in all the love that is on this call, all the love that is in the life of every one of us on this call, in all its different dimensions, and all its different representations, and all of its different relationships that come to us, and breathing out the gray, shady busyness, technology confusion, traffic jam, the other stuff, and know that all of that is really not important. What is important is the heart connection here, the love connection of those that are living the revolutionary agreements in their lives, and that the inner peace that comes from living the revolutionary agreements is something that each of us can choose to have in any moment and situation. And so another breath tells me that all of that is true. And I look forward to hearing from everyone about how the revolutionary agreements are manifesting in your lives, so you can share that with each other and get support on that from each other. One more deep breath and we will be truly present for this time together. Thank you all. Thank you all for your patience in bringing us into this circle. Are we good?
We're good. Thanks, Bob.
Whoa. Something popped up. Never mind. That's my computer again.
Oh, dear Paige.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Paige, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys, but my phone is now.
No, it's
I pressed something I shouldn't have pressed.
Don't touch
everything.
anything.
Sounds good now.
Don't touch anything. It's
Okay. As
You're
long as
good.
we're okay, then that's fine.
You sound good.
You can hear us. It's wonderful. So
Can you hear me?
we can
Yep.
hear you fine.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'd like to
Good.
invite us to do is to a couple things. Well, first off, we're going to, of course, recite the revolutionary agreements, of course.
Oh, shit. I don't have mine in front of me.
Well, you remember all
I
of
don't
it.
either.
And since you're living them, I know you have them right there in your mind. And then we're going to recite them.
Share screen.
And then we're going to, yeah, that's a good idea. We're going to recite them, and then we're going to talk about what is your most challenging one today, and what's your easiest one today. So Noelle thinks I should share the screen, and so
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's,
can you share this? Can you share the screens that has the list of the?
There we go.
Yay!
Thank you.
that makes it a little bit easier
It's
for us.
not that I don't do these things. I do them I don't do them in any order, and I certainly am aware of them, but I don't have them memorized.
So why don't we go around and just read them randomly, whoever would like to go next, and we'll take them from the top to the bottom. I will say that I agree to live my mission, which is to serve humanity and the planet with joy and courage. Who would like to go next?
I agree to speak my truth with compassion.
Anyone?
I agree to look within when I react.
Wonderful.
I agree to keep doing what works and change what doesn't.
Next.
I agree to listen with my heart.
Very nice.
Wonderful.
Sarah?
Okay, I agree to respect our differences.
I agree to resolve conflicts directly.
I agree to honor our choices.
Wonderful.
I agree to give and receive thanks. Let me pull that down a little bit.
I agree to see the best in myself and others.
I agree to look for
I agree.
blessings in disguise.
I agree to lighten up.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
Thank you, Bob.
You're
Saved our
welcome.
asses.
Providing.
So, who would like to go first to share right now, in this minute, which agreement is easiest for you right now? Which agreement, I'll put them back on the screen again. What
Okay,
agreement is easiest for you? What agreement is most difficult for you today?
Okay.
Here we go. I'll put them back up again. And
Okay.
and Sheila will look for your chat.
Double click.
Oops, double click. There we go. But I can't see the chat. I've got that on there.
Do it all.
Who would like to go first?
Why didn't Paige go first? See how she is.
Yeah, Paige, since you might have to leave
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. The hardest one for me right now is to look within when I react.
Uh-huh.
And the easiest one for me right now is I've been really listening with my heart a lot lately. And that seems to be something I've been thinking about a lot. Every time I find myself kind of getting off the thing, I say, listen with your heart, listen with your heart. And it really has helped me to pay attention and to be in the moment rather than be off somewhere else. So that's the one that is easiest. Now, looking within when I react, I react a lot in traffic. So I'm having to stop myself from calling people something that I shouldn't even say. And say, okay, bless you. Okay, you need to do this. Or I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, you got to do it. Or whatever. I'm trying to do that very hard. And it's really got me, I'll tell you. Because I've been in some bad traffic lately.
Maybe that should.
But I guess that's why it's there, because that's the one that's bothering me the most.
Look within when I react.
Yeah, look within when I react. So there should probably well, first off, Paige, I would offer that you live in the Houston area so that you can apply that agreement. And secondly, I think
Amen.
we should put in a suggestion box for the greater metro area highway department that maybe we should have some signs along the road that say, next left turn, such and such, school crossing. Look within when you react. Should be enough.
That would be lovely.
When we were in Germany a couple years ago, you know how around here, when you're driving and it says 55 and then it flashes at you what speed you're going.
That you're going 68.
That you're going 60,
Mm-hmm.
you're going 30,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Well, in Germany, what they do is that if you're going the speed limit or under, it gives you a happy face.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that
I
cool?
like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really cool. It gives you a happy face.
Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, positive reward.
Right.
Okay, who's next?
Who's next? Who would like to share what's easiest for them today? What's most challenging?
Okay, Sheila. Wow.
Up there, right up there. More.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Sheila.
Blessing in disguise. She has the blessing in disguise.
Yeah, the easiest one. Yeah, what's the hardest?
Most difficult is to lighten up. What is biting me here? Man.
Wow.
Interesting.
So Sheila says, I agree to, my easiest is to look for blessings in disguise. I'm learning that everything that happens is for me, not against me, despite appearances. Amen. My most
Wow.
lighten up. Need to have some fun. Yeah, well, you didn't hang out with us that much, Sheila.
So we'll expand on Sheila's comments because we were blessed to have a bit of time with her yesterday. We got back the night before, and Sheila just spent 5 straight days at Unity of Houston, or as I refer to it, the Big Unity, and around these parts. And she did like multiple courses over a many month period, all crammed into 1 week's intensive. So 8 hours a day. She was
Oh my God.
An 8.
all
Well, she
last
said from 9 to 9.
all last week, and
Wow.
chat with her yesterday about how impactful that was. I'm floating from that week.
I'm still floating.
Right.
Oh, I bet.
Wow. Between
Yeah.
St. John's retreat and now this, boy, that's some great resonance coming into our group.
Yep,
Yeah.
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be loading up with their across the road neighbor Norma, and they'll be heading on maybe the 23rd, 24th. I think they head up with a stopover at the Kerrville, Texas Folk Festival, something or other.
Oh, that's a
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We will be able to lighten up there, Sheila. And
That's a great festival.
and there you go. And then of course when
Mm-hmm.
never been there. I wish I could go. Yeah.
It's the biggest bluegrass festival in this region of the United States.
wow.
Wow.
The biggest in the world, one of the biggest bluegrass festivals in the world.
Wow.
And they have a big, huge acreage where you can camp out, and they have campfires all over the place, and they have concerts at different stages during the day, and then at night they have many, many campfires where musicians are sitting around the campfires and jamming, and just walk from campfire to campfire listening. to different music.
Wow.
That sounds delightful.
Wow. How fun.
Vicki,
Yes.
I was at the very first one that they did.
No way.
I was at one of the first ones that they did. I think it was the second year.
Wow, fantastic. I used to take my
It's
daughter.
fabulous.
When my daughter was little, we used to go every year and camp out there. It was wonderful.
Mm.
Fantastic. I'm focused. She says, all the to-do list got a little bit behind. I will move. Love the road trip. Vicki remembers well. I'll be sleeping nearby, however. These all-nighters were in my youth. Those all-nighters were in my youth.
Right.
Yeah, isn't that true for all of us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Amen.
Well, thank you, Sheila. I appreciate you doing this by keyboard. And so who would like to go next? Easiest?
I could go next.
All right.
So I think, okay. So I think the one that I'm doing my best with is Live My Mission.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And the one that I don't know if it's struggling, but at least it's like every day, it's like, you know, a check-in with is to keep doing what works and change what doesn't.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's very significant for me to get these lessons right now as I go through this next wave of activity, and so have to and along with that, I would say resolve conflicts directly is a real piece of that, because my nature doesn't deal with conflict very well, and so conflict's never going to go away. And so I'm, really looking at, letting go what doesn't work and my capacity to resolve conflicts directly.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Mm.
Yeah, those two really, and oftentimes we find that those two, keep doing what works and change what doesn't, and resolving conflict directly, are holding hands with each other in
Oh, really?
a number of circumstances, and something's not working in my life, and it has to do with a relationship with someone. It really has to do with that I'm in conflict with something or somehow, and so yeah, absolutely. You want to share any more about either of those, the easy and the?
Well, I think the Live My Mission, I'm just so grateful that I have that established for myself, and that it's my mantra, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with my mantra as to live my mission. And, where I think in our culture, we're taught so much, that we're supposed to adapt and be current and to, be shifting with the tides of our cultural focus, and to be outside of that box in the first place, and then to stay outside that box consistently, and recognizing that it's just my mantra, it's my mission, is, very powerful. It's very palatable. And so it really does interchange with that, keep doing what works and change what doesn't, because to really fulfill that mission, I can't keep doing things that aren't working. I have to really, really harness what I recognize and what comes into my awareness of what is working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You
Fantastic.
guys, I'm going to have to go. As much as I hate that, I really cannot deal with the traffic situation.
Okay.
So I will see you all next time. I love all of you very much. I appreciate this. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Bye, Paige.
I'll leave you all now, and I will see you soon.
Happy opera.
Happy.
Thank you.
That didn't work.
Never mind.
Never
I
mind.
was going to go to gallery.
And I guess I'm ready to talk about my examples.
Please do.
We locally formed a duplicate bridge club on this side of town, and I was one of the people that helped form it. And after we formed it, or started forming it, the two people that kind of did the most work started butting heads and started having a lot of conflict. And so we decided to go ahead and formally vote for a board of directors. And I was nominated, I was voted onto the board, then I was elected secretary of the board. And the one gentleman who was one of the founders of the club was not elected to the board.
Oh.
And so he had viewed himself as like the owner or manager of this group. And when he was not elected to the board, he started sending out nasty emails and calling names and saying the election was rigged. And I mean, I was one of the people that counted the votes. There were 110 members and 100 people voted. And not only was he elected, there were 19 candidates and there were 9 people elected, and he was down at the very bottom. So what I have tried to do in line with the agreements is to work with the board to always take the high road when he sends out these nasty emails calling people on the board names, making accusations that everything was rigged. And what happened finally was the minister of the church, she's letting us use the church facility for free to hold our games. And he had been given a key, and when he was not elected, I asked for him to return the key, and he refused. And he contacted the minister and said that he was the club manager, and we had to accept him as club manager. And he started telling us he is the one that made the contact with the National Association. He had like a month of games, and he said he knew exactly what he wanted. He wasn't going to turn in the points to the national group so that people could get credit for their games. He was being very nasty. So, and he's been a friend of mine for like 6-7 years. And I had contacted him several times and kind of, recommended that he try to work through these issues. And every time he said he would, but then the next day he would send out another nasty email. So when he refused to turn in the key, we asked to have a meeting with the minister because we felt like there was risk and liability, because if he got mad, what if he went up to the church and damaged something? And he had a key, and we felt at least we had to tell the church pastor that somebody had a key that was now unauthorized. And so we asked to have a meeting, and she said, yeah, I'll have a meeting with the president of the club and with this guy. and he chose the date, he chose the meeting place, he chose the time, and he blew up. I mean, he blew up. It's like he's totally irrational. He didn't show up for the meeting. You know, so he didn't tell the pastor he wasn't coming. And so she, you know, and we had continually over the last month, in line with the agreements, I had been modeling all this stuff with the board. We're going to take the high road. We're never going to criticize them. We're never going to say anything bad about him. We're just going to do what's right. So anytime we presented our position, it was impersonal, without emotion, and never saying anything bad about him. And so finally, you know, we said, the minister, we need to meet with you. And then when we met, we said, we just need to tell you, this man still has a key. He wasn't elected to the board, and he refuses to give back the key. And it was the first time we'd said anything to her. And he had been contacting her, emailing her, calling her, having dinner with her. And she just went ballistic. And she immediately called him and said, the church facility is worth $3.2 million. If you do not return the key today, I will consider that you have infringed on the church, and you could be facing criminal charges and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, she stepped in. We didn't have to do anything. She stepped in and she said, she called the National Association, told them what had happened. She wrote them a letter. She put together an announcement for us to read to the whole club, stating that he was no longer allowed in official capacity at the church. And so she did everything. And she turned to us and said, I really appreciate the way you guys handled this, because you were so calm and positive, and you always did the right thing, and you never reacted emotionally to all of his tactics. So I felt like, at least, you know, I wasn't the only reason it went that way, but I felt like I had at least a part in trying to help this group of people maneuver through this minefield of emotionality that he was creating. I mean, he manipulated us. I'm not going to turn in the points unless you make me a club manager, acknowledge me in front of all the members, and do exactly what I want. And
Wow.
so, you know, it works on an individual level. It works on a group level, on a community level too. And I think it just went to show. I mean, it's been real hard. It's been hard on me. It's been hard on everybody, because it's to take that road, you know, that path, and not attack back when you feel like you're under attack is not always easy. And it takes a lot of energy to do that, but the outcome was well worth it, because the minister said, you guys acted in an exemplary fashion. So I think that was gratification. The hard part, so I think that I was able to speak my truth with compassion, and speak the truth in representing the board and the whole club of members. But I've had a hard time seeing the best in others. I haven't commented on it, but it's still hard to see, you know, the good in him. I think he's really having a hard time emotionally. So that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you complete, Vicki?
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate the story, and Sheila just posted what a great story. Calmness pays off. And it does apply to us individually as well as in groups, particularly if there can be an agreement in a group about using the agreements as a method of operating. And I know Sarah's working in a number of different, you know, some companies, some place where she's invested, some place where she's working. And
Can I respond to that for just a really quick second?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, you know that I'm working with someone that really has the agreements up above her desk and everything, right? So in our one of our very first strategy meetings, and we set up a series, we're meeting twice a week at the library. I put the revolutionary agreements, bookmarker on the table, and I'm like, can we, is there a way that we can incorporate these? And they were like, get them out of here. I was like, okay. So, it wasn't like it was like, you know, they're bad or anything, but they were like, oh no, we're all up over here. We just, yeah, no. You know, I think there's some really great conversations I'd love to explore around that.
And it's,
But, you know, with this group I was working with, I never brought the agreements to them. I never read the agreements to them. I just tried to incorporate the agreements in the advice I gave them in the language they were used to hearing. Instead of saying, respect our differences, resolve conflicts, I would just say, let's take the high road in this situation. If he attacks us, let's not attack him. Let's be professional and just totally impersonal about it, and just we will just address the facts and let him wallow in the emotion of it. You know, we won't do that. Let's just not do that. And so I just tried to put it in words that wouldn't sound, you know, trite to them, or wouldn't sound like I was reading them an agreement, but to actually incorporate the essence of what they meant, right?
yeah, that's wonderful. And as you were telling the story, also, Vicki, it was striking me how important it is, how significant it is for each of us that to bring the inner peace, because you were talking about how you remained calm through the situation, and whether your calmness supported others who were remaining calm. I mean, they were all on their individual journey, not talking about Mr. Man, but all the others in your group. But your inner peace can be a support to others having inner peace. And, you know, him being the outlier in this example that you're giving. And that's the thing for me with the agreements, is whenever I bring to conscious thought, I want to apply this particular agreement right now, or recognizing that I am and celebrating that for myself, it always is a moment of inner peace. It ratchets up inner peace. And to the point for both of you, the way, Vicki, you were talking about it, and also Sarah, when you're talking about a group basically saying, you know, we're all cool, we know this stuff and everything. And so it's interesting because I'll tell you a very quick story. We had this retreat at the Oracle Institute at the Peace Pentagon in November. We had it with their leadership group. We were back there 3 weeks ago at a conference, and it wasn't an emotional retreat kind of bare your soul, support each other kind of thing. It was a conference. There were speakers, there were presentations, there were questions and answers. We all ate dinner together around the same big table, and it was a day and a half long, plus a movie the night before. And near the end of the event, someone that was in the group, there were maybe 16, 20 people in attendance, someone that was in the circle got so passionate and upset with something that one of the presenters said that that person lashed out at him, lashed out at the presenter. And he was extremely emotional, like shouting, red in the face, emotional about it.
I thought he was going to cry.
And I was expecting, and I was sitting between the two guys, the presenter. They were sitting in a circle. I was sitting between the presenter and the other fellow who was so passionate. And he just launched. And the presenter was very respectful in his response, let the guy finish. Then he addressed some of his concerns and had stood his ground on some of the comments that he had made. What was so stunning for Noelle and I was the person that exploded was one of the members of the leadership group at the Oracle Institute who had been through the Revolutionary Agreements retreat. And so in our feedback form to them, in addition to saying, you know, your staff and your key volunteers, when they attend an event, they are representing the organization, for one thing.
Oh, you said that?
Yeah, to outsiders that might be attending an event. But I recommended to them that they consider for conferences, not necessarily for a retreat that's an intensive or something like that, or a women's retreat, but at least for conferences, that they read the agreements one time through, whoever's emceeing or hosting, just to say, these are the agreements that we live by here at the Peace Pentagon at the Oracle Institute, and this is the way we'll be conducting the conference. So things like respecting our differences and things like dealing with conflict directly. Dealing with conflict directly, to me, doesn't seem like lashing out at somebody else in a circle of 20 people. It seems like when the break comes, going and taking that and applying that agreement in a conversation with that individual. And although I was respecting both, because I was respecting that Eric was so amazingly passionate and concerned about what he was saying, but the energy of it was just over the top. And so it's interesting. The reason I bring up that example in part is because all of us run in some very high consciousness groups, as well as we from day to day also have an opportunity to be in some that are a little bit less in higher consciousness, and or are driving on Houston area highways. And so we have the opportunity to apply these for our own inner peace in many different ways. By the way, Sheila asked for clarification for you, Sarah. It says, I don't understand. They're not interested in using them, but they posted them.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, and I think that there's appreciation for them, but, for some people, they just find other things, more valuable for them in their experience. But I can say, though, that when we did reach those conflict places, she was able to state in the group that for as long as she's known me to come to not resolution, but to come from that calm place, mm-hmm. and have the resiliency to bring that energy to our discussions. So when the person was kind of attacking me, she was able to say, yeah, no, that's not how I know Sarah. So it was, and I was able just to stay really calm in that and know the truth of that as well. So there's a difference of, of striving to be a certain way and then just knowing that you are that way.
Right.
Right. And so having these as those grounding points helps me to know that that's where I'm at. And so I can, whether someone said I was there or not, I just feel that truth.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, are you ready for your most easy and most challenging? Sweet schnookums?
I don't know. I'm like, I'm kind of out of it.
You're calm. Everything is calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's easiest?
They're right here if you need to refer to them.
Okay. Well, we did have let's see. We did have an interesting stop on our way from someplace to someplace. And we met with a business partner who we lost a lot of money with. So we met with him and just had to be with our truth to say, where we were at and also we just felt like Bob said, well, what are we going to say when we meet with them? I said, I think we're just going to listen. And we went a couple weeks ago, we went to Charlottesville, Virginia, and we're part of a whole day called Listen First. And they brought in all these different organizations and with very different points of view. I mean, like we have Billy Graham's granddaughter there on the same stage with a Tea Party person, with the same person who's head of Black Lives Matter in New York. And,
wow.
Just a lot of different points of view. And it was a beautiful day. So I thought we're going to just, listen first. And it was, I would say we came out of there feeling we got to say what we needed to say. And for the first time, I heard him apologize. Did you pick that up, dear? Like before, it's always, he says, well, I'm really working on these things and I'm going to counseling. And, he says, usually when somebody would criticize me, then I would come back defensive. And he says, I don't, I know that doesn't, he didn't use these words. He says, I know that doesn't serve me. He says, I know that's not the right thing to do, that I have to, accept responsibility and apologize. And So it was quite amazing to hear this and have that discussion. And, it was a very friendly get together. And I'm sure that we will be seeing, this person lives here in Houston. Probably change that.
Sure.
We'll be seeing this person when we come back in December. And it was kind of interesting to see this person who made really a big mistake, got himself into a lot of trouble, and got us into a lot of financial issues. Own it. So I guess that's I guess what we did was we spoke our truth. I was saying spoke our truth with compassion, because this whole thing, which I'm not going to go into details because it's ridiculous, but it's been going on for about 10 years. So, but to be able to feel that you came away and you were able to say what you wanted to say and be heard, and able to listen and be heard and whatever, I think that was, a really a good thing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point we're going like, we don't want to ever see that son of a bitch again. Just, cut him out of our life and blah, blah, blah. And we decided to make a different choice.
It sounds like you were listening with your heart.
Yeah.
That too.
Thanks for reminding me.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I can feel that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so that was one thing that was, I'll say, challenging, very challenging. And we did not know how it was going to go, but we just knew we had to do it. And I'm glad we did. And I think it had we may not get any of our money back, but I still feel it was the right thing to do.
Sounds like we all have a lot to celebrate.
Yeah.
Is there something on there? Oh, give and receive thanks. I guess that's kind of like celebrating.
Or lighten up, or look. Well, I could also say look for blessings in disguise, because
And honoring our choices.
yeah,
We get to choose, right? If we're going to, be in that space.
yeah. But I would say look for blessings in disguise kind of resonates with me most, because we had a very prosperous, we're going through all of our stuff, closed out our last storage unit, and now we're just down to boxes of photos and pictures and memories, and I'm going like, oh my God, what a blessed life we have had. And I was thinking like, we were so busy, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we could do just about anything we wanted to do, and we didn't take it for granted or anything like that. But if we hadn't had the financial, we'll say, hiccup, and it started after 2008, I'm wondering if we would have just stayed in that state. If we would have
Interesting.
really said, well, we had to come to the point where we say our relationship and we are more than our money. And so how are we going to live? And so, everything is, we have enough for today, and, enough seems to show up and keep us going. And we have a lot of people who love us and help us by giving us, like where we are now, giving us shelter and a place to stay while we're lent our RV to somebody else. But it all, it's all good. So that's what I would say, a blessing in disguise. So
it helped you simplify your life.
Oh yeah.
That's indeed.
Oh yeah.
So
we're living quite large.
Yeah, we were.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But where we were, it would have been easy to just keep doing that.
It's easy. It would have been easy to continue to be large and unconscious. Excuse me.
Certainly not your path.
No, it's not. So a footnote on my,
to trade that for consciousness, he may have been the biggest angel in your life.
yes, indeed. Yep. Well, a little sidebar on the experience that Noel was talking about for me was that as we walked in to go visit with him, because we had actually written to him, and what I feel was with the intention of karmically and energetically separating from him and acknowledging that the financial relationship with him is done, and that to allow space for other financial prosperity in our life to happen. And so if anything, Noel said, you know, we may not ever get any money from him. I'm ready to not get any money from him. And if it happens, then it happens. So as we walked in to go visit him, one or both of us were a little tense, and maybe it was just that we had driven for 4 hours. You know, we'd driven 2,000 miles in the prior 4 days, and yada, 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 and hotels, and trying to find libraries with Wi-Fi connection to do calls and all this stuff.
That's
And
our usual.
then we were going, and it was 95 degrees, and we were leaving Boomer in the car in the parking lot. And so we had figured out how to leave the engine running and the air conditioner on. And so all this, you know, as we're walking in, and then I just said to myself, I said out loud, what do I want the relationship to be when we're done having this interaction? So it's a part of part of Marion's book when she talks about resolving conflict directly. I don't know that I was feeling any conflict with this guy, because I had sat in the car before we walked in to meet him and reread the letter that I had sent to him a month before. And so I was in that mindset, but I grabbed that little tool before going in and saying, and asking myself the question, what do I want the relationship to be? Outcome, regardless of outcome, when we're on the other side of this conversation. And so great, powerful tool. So we are past our hour, so I'll make my check-in on easy and challenging quick, in that it seems like the note that I've written to myself is easy, look for blessing in disguise; challenging, keep doing what does work and change what doesn't. And both of them today, of where I am, relate to preparing the RV for a trip. I find really that when I get around to writing 5 or 6 of my books that I'm going to write, one of them obviously has to do with, one of them is somewhat about RVing around the country, not knowing where you're going, and the zen of being that.
The zen of fifth wheeling?
The zen of fifth wheeling without destination known, or something like that. And so whenever I have the opportunity to get back into so much of our life now is actually in homes with people and not really living in the RV, or taking it very far. But we're, you know, so we got a 1,000-mile trip. We had a 1,000-mile trip 6 months ago to bring it down here. And it is always an opportunity in literally going through the day of, okay, we just got to prepare the RV. Well, the first thing to check in case there's anything wrong will be to check to see how the air is in the 4 tires, and then allow myself the most amount of time to deal with it if it isn't perfect. And so just those things, those individual things, oh, great. 3 of them are at 82 where I left them. 1 of them's at 52, and that's a big drop. So being able to, you know, do what's working and what's in what place, and moving stuff around and getting things ready and getting unpacked and thinking about how much weight we've added just because how many people have given us more books in the last 6 months. So all of those things are opportunities to do what, like, minute by minute, change what's not working and keep doing what is working. But it's also a moment, and I've reflected on this a number of times in the last 2 days, as well as that 5-day, 2,000-mile drive, that finding something that seems like a conflict or seems like a pain in the ass or whatever, and saying, well, actually, what is the blessing in disguise of this? And it drops me to immense gratitude about, as Noel was saying, of going through, looking, oh my God, 5 large boxes of photos and slides and scrapbooks from college and whatnot. And we got to figure out what to do.
Love letters.
And love letters. And some of them from me, apparently. And and to just, like Noel said, to realize what blessed life we have. and have been having and have right now. And
Yeah.
so those are the two that hold hands for me in this exact moment as we prepare for the next adventure.
I just want to, we're going through all this stuff, and I just, love letters and other stuff, and I kept bank statements and all kinds of crap. I opened up this one letter, and it was from my landlord in like about 1980, and it was typed. It was very nice, and it says, "I regret to inform you, but your rent is going up to $200 a month." And I like this really nice one-bedroom apartment in this fourplex in this beautiful setting. And I was going like, wow, I was probably really bummed out about that.
All perspective, isn't it?
Indeed. And in the last, 3 summers, we've been paying $200 or $250 to live in paradise in Eden Valley in northern Colorado. So it's, yeah.
Then they said,
Well, I really appreciate that the look for blessings in disguise. I'm gonna be with that one for a little while. I think that's a really good one to be with. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Did you guys get a final resolution on your place to stay in Colorado?
we did.
it's going to work out well. We're going to be at Sunrise Ranch on their campus. They have one hookup, and they invited us to be there, and we worked out a work exchange. So we're going to work so many hours, and that's going to get us free rent and free food.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we're going to be living in Barbara Marx Hubbard's front yard, literally.
Oh, fantastic.
That's the scary part.
We're not.
I'm not saying a thing.
We're going to work out. I see my best in myself and others, and I look for blessings in disguise on an hourly basis, probably.
Oh, God. We're going to have some fun this summer.
Well said. You know those things that we have on the back of the pickup window that you can see out, but you can't see in, and it's got something written on it. And the guy at the Proclaim place yesterday asked me, what is Birth 2012 and who's Barbara Marx Hubbard? And anyway, Noel said, can we put those on the windows of the RV on Barbara's side of the RV?
Oh,
We love Barbara.
oh,
We love
Barbara
Barbara.
always finds a way for you to serve her.
Yeah, we do love Barbara, and she's an
But I'm not
amazing,
interested in that.
amazing influence in our life. And but the summer up there, we had been used to not having to get out of our pajamas because nobody was looking in except the elk. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is something to look at as blessing.
Okay, so I call dibs on the Arise Festival.
Okay, you first one in. Okay, you got it.
oh.
You got it. Okay, let's see what else is going on here from Sheila before we wrap up. My internet connects. Sorry.
Hey, y'all. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I actually saw
Yeah, the
her
phone
for a
service
minute.
just came back. Yeah.
Wonderful.
How about that? So now you get to hear my voice at least instead of just reading chats, which feels so much better.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't believe how disruptive it was to my life today to have no phone service for about 4 hours.
Wow.
Mm.
That's
No internet on my phone, nothing.
that's
The
interesting.
national T-Mobile network went down all over the country.
Oh, wow. Really?
Rhodey has.
Yeah.
Rhodey said he was out of phone service for a little
yeah,
bit. I
Rhodey,
heard
our dog.
Wow. That's a big deal.
just after they
It
announced.
really is.
That's a really
Yeah.
deal.
Did they do that on purpose to make us think they need to be bigger?
That's right.
That's crazy.
Or that you need 5G, which is from what we've researched thus far unhealthy. So
Right.
My next
Uh-oh.
I'm going to buy the things that shields you from 5G. 'Cause that's
Good.
trying us.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell us where to
So
find
true.
it.
Yeah. It's so true.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, we did go over a little bit, but I appreciate
Yeah.
everybody's patience at our front end and our opportunity to find blessings in disguise about being able to calm down into the love of the circle. Thank you so
Yeah.
Thank you all.
And thank you all for sharing about your adventures of revolutionary agreements in your lives. We'll look forward to hearing more about those. We look forward to a final hug with Sheila tomorrow and
Not a final.
Yay.
Next.
Yeah, a final one for
I'll need to know what time you're coming by because I will definitely make a point of being there, but I need to know
okay. Let
so
us
I can schedule around it.
Let's
Well,
We'll do that by text.
give her an extra hug for us, okay?
okay.
Guys,
We'll do.
Aw.
guys ought to
Aw.
come up here and jump in the pool on your way out of town.
There you go.
Oh, you know, we might be coming
Uh-huh.
tomorrow, Vicki.
Pardon me?
We might be coming up to we're coming up to Conroe tomorrow. We're going to overnight there.
Then you ought to come over here and jump in the pool.
Yeah.
We'll give you a call. We'll see what we can work out,
Yeah, because the boys want us to come down and watch their soccer thing.
which would be the first time for us to see their soccer thing.
So,
Right.
but we'll keep that in the back of our mind.
Thank you for the
Come
invitation.
over later. Come over after the
Okay.
soccer game. I mean, it's nice to swim at night.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will. Thank you for the offer. We'll go downstairs and find out what the troops are up to. So thank you. Much love to everybody,
Yeah.
and we look
Bye,
forward to
everyone.
seeing you all again soon.
Mwah, mwah.
See you soon. Love you.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye-bye.